pulled the control stick hard to the left. His cargo ship groaned as it turned through empty space. The stars outside looked cold and distant. He had been flying alone for 3 weeks now, carrying medical supplies to the outer colonies. It was boring work, but it paid well enough. The warning light flashed red on his console, frowned and checked the scanner. There was a distress signal coming from somewhere nearby. He leaned forward and studied the screen carefully. The signal was weak, but it was definitely there. Someone needed help. Knew he should ignore it. This sector of space was dangerous. Pirates hunted here. Worse things too. The smart choice was to keep flying and pretend he saw nothing. That was what most pilots would do, but had been a soldier before he became a cargo pilot. He had seen too many people die because no one came to help them. He changed course and followed the signal. 20 minutes later, he found the ship. It was huge, much bigger than his small cargo vessel. The design was alien, not human. Recognized it as construction. They were one of the most powerful species in the galaxy. They ruled over dozens of worlds and had technology that made human ships look like children's toys. But this ship was damaged badly. Large holes had been torn in its hull. No lights showed in the windows. It drifted through space like a dead thing. Brought his ship close and used the scanner to check for life signs. There were 5 signals, all weak. Someone was still alive in there. He put on his space suit and grabbed his emergency medical kit. Then he used the airlock to cross over to the damaged vessel. The inside of the ship was a mess. Bodies lay everywhere. Most were guards, wearing armor that had been melted by weapons fire, moved carefully through the corridors. The air was thin and hard to breathe. Emergency lights flickered above him. He found them in what looked like a command room. 4 alien women stood around a 5th who lay on the floor. The one on the floor was older, with skin that shimmered like blue metal. Her breathing was shallow and fast. The 4 younger women turned to face when he entered. They held weapons, but they looked tired and desperate. Raised his hands to show he meant no harm. "I received your distress signal," he said. His translator device would convert his words into their language. "I came to help." The tallest of the young women stepped forward. She had strong shoulders and moved like a fighter. "You are human," she said. Her voice was cold and suspicious. "Why would you help us?" "Because you need help," said simply. He moved closer and looked at the woman on the floor. Her skin had turned darker, almost purple. Her eyes were closed and her chest barely moved. What happened to her? "Poison," said another of the young women. This one wore robes instead of armor. She looked like she had been crying. "Our enemies attacked us. They used poison. Our doctors are all dead. There is no cure." Knelt beside the dying woman. He had seen symptoms like this before, during the war. Poison was rare, but human soldiers had encountered it on a few planets. The aliens who made it used it to kill enemies slowly and painfully, but humans reacted to it differently than other species. Human bodies could break down the poison if they had help. "I might be able to save her," said. All 4 young women stared at him. "Impossible," said the one in robes. "Poison has no antidote. Every doctor in the galaxy knows this." "For your species, maybe," said. He opened his medical kit. "But human blood is different. We process toxins in a strange way. During the war, we learned how to make an antidote using human blood plasma." The tall fighter woman grabbed his shoulder. Her grip was very strong. "If you lie to us, human, I will kill you slowly." "I am not lying," said calmly. He looked at the dying woman again. "But I need to work fast. What is her name?" "She is Matriarch Na," said the 3rd young woman. She had tools on her belt and looked like an engineer. "Our mother, leader of our clan." Nodded, a matriarch. That explained the fancy ship and the guards. They were ruled by women who passed power through their daughters. This was someone very important. He did not care about that. He only cared that she was dying and he could help. Worked quickly. He drew blood from his own arm and used chemicals from his kit to separate the plasma. Then he added other medicines and mixed them carefully. The four daughters watched him work. They did not speak, but he could feel their eyes on him constantly. This will hurt her, warned, but it should neutralize the poison. He injected the mixture into Na's neck. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the matriarch's body went rigid. She made a choking sound. The daughters cried out and moved toward her but held up his hand. "Wait," he said. "Her body is fighting the poison now. Give it time." They waited. Seconds felt like hours. Watched Na's face carefully. Slowly, very slowly, her skin began to change color. The dark purple faded to a lighter blue. Her breathing became deeper and more regular. The youngest daughter, who had not spoken yet, suddenly dropped to her knees. Tears ran down her face. "She is breathing," she whispered. "She is really breathing." Na's eyes opened. They were silver like mirrors. She looked up with confusion. "Who?" she said weakly. "A human cargo pilot," said the tall daughter. Her voice was different now, filled with shock. "Mother, he saved you. He cured the poison." Na stared for a long time. Something changed in her expression. Something that looked like wonder and fear mixed together. "Impossible," she whispered. Then she closed her eyes again, but this time she was sleeping, not dying. Sat back and let out a long breath. He felt tired suddenly. Using his own blood always made him weak, but it had worked. She would live. "Thank you," said the young woman in robes. She was crying too now. "Thank you, human. You have given us back our mother." Smiled, just doing what anyone would do. But he was wrong about that, and he would learn soon how wrong he was. 3 days passed. Na grew stronger each day, stayed on the ship to make sure the antidote worked properly. The 4 daughters gave him a room and brought him food. The food was strange, but he ate it without complaining. The daughters introduced themselves properly on the 2nd day. The tall fighter was named. She was the eldest daughter and trained in combat since childhood. The one who wore robes was, who studied diplomacy and knew 7 languages. The engineer was, who could fix almost anything mechanical. The youngest was, who trained as a healer and could sense emotions in others. They were all beautiful but in different ways, had scars on her arms and moved with confidence, had kind eyes and spoke softly. Hands were always busy with some tool or device, watched constantly as if trying to understand him. On the 3rd day, Na called for him. She sat up in bed now, looking much healthier. Her silver eyes studied carefully as he entered the room. All 4 daughters stood beside her bed. "Sit, human," Na said. Her voice was strong again. "We must talk." Sat in the chair across from her bed. "You look better," he said. "The poison is almost completely gone from your system. You should recover fully." "Yes," Na said, "because of you." She paused and looked at her daughters. Then she looked back "Do you understand what you have done?" "I saved your life," said. He felt confused by the question. Was that wrong? "No," Na said. "But among my people, such an act creates a debt. A life debt. It is the most serious debt that can exist between 2 people." Shifted in his chair. He did not like where this was going. "I did not save you for payment," he said. "I did it because it was the right thing to do." "That makes the debt even greater," Na said. "You gained nothing from saving me. You risked your own life in this dangerous sector. You used your own blood to make the cure. You asked for nothing in return." She leaned forward. "No has ever owed a life debt to an alien before. This is unprecedented." "Then forget about it," said. "I do not want anything from you. I will leave soon and you will never see me again." The daughters all reacted to his words. His hand moved to her weapon, gasped. Eyes went wide, actually flinched as if he had hit her. Na's face became very cold. "You refuse the debt." "I am saying there is no debt," said. He stood up. "You owe me nothing. I am happy you are alive. That is enough for me." "Sit down," Na commanded. Her voice had power in it that made obey without thinking. He sat. She watched him with those mirror eyes. "You do not understand. If I do not repay this debt, I lose honor. My clan loses honor. Other clans will see me as weak. They will attack us. My daughters will be killed or married off to my enemies. Everything I have built will fall apart. Felt his stomach tighten. He had not thought about politics. He just wanted to help someone who was dying. Then tell me what you need, he said. I will try to help. Nun nodded. Good, you are learning, she gestured to her daughters. In culture, the highest honor a matriarch can give is to offer her bloodline. I have no sons. I have only my daughters. They are my most precious treasures. By our ancient laws, I must bind you to my clan through them. Felt his heart start to beat faster. What does that mean? It means, Nuss said clearly, that I give you my daughters in wedlock, all 4 of them. You will marry them and become part of our clan. Your children with them will carry both human and blood. This is how the debt is repaid. For a long moment could not speak. He looked at the 4 daughters. They all watched him with different expressions, looked stoic, accepting her duty, looked curious but nervous, seemed fascinated, looked terrified. No, said finally, absolutely not. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Nu's eyes became like ice. You refuse. I cannot marry 4 women I do not know, said. That is insane. In human culture, marriage is about love and choice, not debt and duty. You dare call our traditions insane, said. Her hand was definitely on her weapon now. I call forcing women to marry a stranger insane, said. He looked at each daughter. Do any of you want this? Do any of you want to marry me? They did not answer. They looked at their mother instead. What they want does not matter, Nuss said. This is about honor and survival. Then I refuse, said. He stood again. I will not be part of this. Find another way to repay the debt. There is no other way. Nu's voice was sharp now. You saved my life. Only my bloodline is worthy payment. To refuse my daughters is to say they are worthless. Other clans will hear about this. They will laugh at us. They will attack us within weeks. That is not my problem, said. He knew his words were harsh, but he felt angry now. He had saved this woman's life, and now she wanted to trade her daughters like property. Then you are a fool, Nuss said coldly, and you have doomed my family. Walked to the door. He stopped there and looked back. I am sorry, he said, but I cannot do what you ask. Marriage should be a choice, not a payment. He left the room. Behind him, he heard start to cry. Later that night came to his room. She knocked softly on his door. When he opened it, she stood there with a data tablet in her hands. May I speak with you? She asked. Let her in. She sat on the chair and looked at him seriously. You have caused a great problem, she said, but I understand why. Your culture is different from ours. Yes, said, very different. In our culture, explained, marriages are not about love. They are about creating alliances, combining bloodlines, gaining power. We are taught from childhood that we will marry whoever our mother chooses. We do not expect to love our husbands. We expect to do our duty. That sounds terrible, said. Perhaps, said. She smiled a little. But it is all we have ever known. When mother said she would give us to you, we were shocked, but we accepted it. A human husband is strange, yes, but you saved our mother. That means something. I still will not force you into marriage, said. Was quiet for a moment. Then she said, what if we made a different arrangement? You could spend time with us. Learn our culture. Let us learn about humans. Then after some time you could decide, and we could decide. Would that be acceptable? Your mother would agree to that? Asked. If it prevents immediate war, yes, said. She is angry now, but she is also practical. Give her time to calm down, then we will propose this compromise. Thought about it. It was better than nothing. And maybe, if he spent time with them, he could help them understand that they deserve to choose their own futures. All right, he said, I will try. Smiled. It was the first real smile he had seen from any of them. Good, she said. You may be strange, but I think you are a good man. After she left, lay on his bed and stared at the ceiling. He had come here to deliver medical supplies. Now he was caught in alien politics and arranged marriages. He wondered what his mother would say about all this. She would probably laugh and call him an idiot for not running away when he had the chance. But he had never been good at running away from problems. And these four women deserved better than being traded like possessions, even if their own culture said otherwise. Na agreed to the compromise, but she was not happy about it. She gave 3 months to spend time with her daughters. After that, decisions would be made. Her clan could not wait longer than that. Already, word was spreading that Matriarch Na owed a life debt to a human. Other clans were watching, waiting for signs of weakness. Moved his cargo ship into the vessel's docking bay. For the first week, things were awkward. The daughters did not know how to act around him. They had been trained their whole lives to be perfect, controlled, and obedient. Was none of those things. He laughed too much. He made jokes that confused them. He asked them personal questions that seemed rude in culture. He ate with his hands sometimes. He sang old songs while working on his ship. He was loud and messy and emotional. Found him the most difficult to understand. She was a warrior, trained to control every emotion and reaction. But one day, she challenged him to a sparring match in the training room. "I want to see how humans fight," she said. She wore light armor and carried a training staff. Had no armor, he had only a stick he found in the storage room. "All right," he said, "but I should warn you, I do not fight fair." "There is no honor in fighting unfairly," said coldly. They began, was fast and skilled. She attacked with perfect form, every move calculated, blocked and dodged but barely. She was much better trained than he was. Then did something unexpected. He threw dirt in her eyes. Stumbled back shocked. "What are you doing?" "Winning," said. He swept her legs and she fell. But instead of attacking, he helped her up. In human military training, we learn that survival is more important than honor. A dead warrior with honor is still dead. Stared at him, she should have been angry, she should have been insulted. But instead, something strange happened. She started to laugh. It was the first time had heard her laugh. It was a good sound. "You are very strange," she said, "but maybe that is not bad." After that came to train with him every day. She taught him fighting techniques. He taught her human dirty tricks. They never spoke about marriage or duty. They just fought and laughed and sometimes sat together in comfortable silence. Was different. She wanted to understand human thinking. She brought books and asked him questions for hours. Why did humans form so many different governments? Why did they fight wars over ideas instead of resources? Why did they make art about sad things? "Humans are complicated," tried to explain one evening. They sat in the observation room watching stars pass by. "We feel too much. We think too much. We argue about everything. Sometimes I think we are our own worst enemy." "But you also accomplish amazing things," said. She had been reading human history. "You went from inventing flight to landing on your moon in only 60 years. You survived 3 world wars. You made peace with species that tried to exterminate you. How?" "Thought about it. We are stubborn, I guess. When someone says something is impossible, humans take it as a challenge. We do not give up easily, even when we should." "That is both inspiring and terrifying," said softly. "Yes," agreed. "That describes humanity pretty well." Began to see humans differently after that. They were not the crude, simple species she had been taught about. They were complex and contradictory and fascinating. Fell in love with human engineering. His cargo ship was old and held together with repairs and improvisation. By standards, it should not fly at all. But it did, because humans were good at making broken things work. "This makes no sense," said one day. She was examining his engine. "You have components from 6 different manufacturers. None of them are designed to work together. The power flow is completely chaotic. This should explode." "But it doesn't," said cheerfully. He was helping her by handing her tools. "Human engineering is about making things work with what you have. We call it improvisation. We call it insanity, said, but she was smiling. She started to redesign parts of the ship, combining efficiency with human creativity. The results were strange but effective. One night the ship was attacked. Pirates had been tracking the damaged vessel, waiting for a chance to board and loot it. They came in 3 ships, armed with weapons meant to disable, not destroy. They wanted the cargo and any valuables. Alarms blared, ran to the weapon systems, but the pirates were jamming their targeting computers. Nothing would lock on. We cannot fight them, said, frustrated. They are too close and our systems are compromised. Let me try something, said. He sat at the weapons console and switched off all the automatic systems. Can you reroute power directly to the forward guns? That is dangerous, said. Without computer control, you could overload them. Trust me, said. Made the modifications. Aimed the guns manually using only his eyes and instincts. He fired in patterns that made no mathematical sense, but somehow he hit 2 of the pirate ships. They spun away, damaged and retreating. The 3rd ship tried to ram them, did something insane. He fired the engines in full reverse while turning hard. The maneuver should have torn the ship apart. Instead, it dodged just enough. The pirate ship missed and flew past them. How did you do that? Asked. She looked amazed. Human intuition, said. His hands were shaking from adrenaline. Sometimes thinking too much gets you killed. You just have to feel what is right. After that night, the daughters began to truly respect him. He had protected them using methods that made no logical sense. But they worked. That was very human. Was the last to open up to him. She was shy and quiet, and her empathic abilities made her sensitive to others' emotions. She could feel that was conflicted. He cared about them, but he was also afraid of trapping them, afraid of being trapped himself. One evening she found him sitting alone in the observation room. He looked sad. You miss your home, she said softly. Yes, admitted. I miss Earth, I miss simple things, coffee that tastes right, rain, my grandmother's garden. Why did you leave? Asked. I was running from something, said. After the war I could not stay in one place. Too many memories, too many ghosts. Sat beside him. She did not say anything for a while, then she put her hand on his. You are not running anymore, she said. You saved my mother, you stayed to help us. That is not running. Looked at her, she was young, but her eyes were old and wise. Maybe you are right, he said. We are all afraid, whispered. Is afraid she is not strong enough to protect us. Is afraid she is not smart enough to understand everything. Is afraid her creations will fail when we need them most. And I am afraid that I feel too much, care too much, and it will break me. Those sound like very human fears, said gently. Maybe and humans are not so different, said. The 3 months passed quickly. Learned to eat food without making faces. The daughters learned to understand human humor. They laughed together. They worked together. They talked late into the night about everything and nothing. But the time came when decisions had to be made. Na called them all to the command room. She looked at with those mirror eyes. The 3 months are finished, she said. What have you decided, human? Looked at the 4 daughters, stood tall and proud, watched him with intelligent eyes, held one of her tools always ready to fix something, smiled at him softly. I have not decided anything, said. This choice belongs to them, not me. Na's eyes narrowed. That is not how this works. Then change how it works, said firmly. Let them choose. If even one of them does not want this, then I will leave and you can find another way to repay your debt. There is no other way, Na said. Then you will have to live with the dishonor, said, because I will not force anyone into a life they do not want. The room was silent. Everyone waited to see what would happen next. Na looked at her daughters. Her face showed no emotion but thought he saw something flicker in her eyes. Fear, maybe, or pride. Very well, she said. Speak, daughters, what do you choose? Stepped forward first. She had always been the brave one, the one who faced danger without hesitation. She looked directly at. "I choose you," she said. Her voice was strong and clear. "Not because of duty, not because my mother commands it. I choose you because in these 3 months you showed me something I never knew existed. You showed me that strength does not require cruelty, that a warrior can laugh and still be dangerous, that protecting others can be more important than personal honor." She paused. "You made me question everything I was taught, and I am grateful for that." Stepped forward next. She was smiling, which surprised everyone. "I choose you as well," she said. "I have studied hundreds of species and thousands of cultures, but I never understood any of them until I met you. You taught me that knowledge without wisdom is useless, that questions are more valuable than answers, that humans, for all their chaos and contradiction, have something we lack: hope." She laughed softly. "You are the most frustrating, illogical, wonderful puzzle I have ever encountered. I want to spend my life solving you." Practically bounced forward, she was grinning widely. "Obviously I choose you," she said. "You let me build things that break all the rules. You encourage my crazy ideas instead of telling me to follow protocols. Together we created weapon systems that should not work but do, ships that should fall apart but fly. You see problems as possibilities. That is the most beautiful thing I have ever witnessed." She held up a small device. "I even built this for you. It is a translator that works backwards. It will make everyone else sound as confusing as you do, because you are weird, and I love weird." Came forward last. Tears ran down her face, but she was smiling. "I choose you too," she whispered. "When you first came to save my mother, I could feel your emotions. You were scared, but you came anyway. You were tired, but you worked anyway. You gained nothing, but you gave everything anyway. In all my life, I have never felt such pure kindness from anyone." She wiped her tears. "I can feel your emotions right now. You are terrified that you are trapping us, but we are not trapped. For the first time in our lives, we are free, free to choose, and we choose you." Felt his throat tighten. He had not expected this, any of this. He looked at each of them and saw no doubt in their faces. They meant what they said. But he still had doubts of his own. "I do not know if I can be what you need," he said honestly. "I am just a cargo pilot. I am not rich. I am not powerful. I have no clan, no title, nothing to offer you except myself." "That is enough," said simply. "More than enough," agreed. "Perfect, actually," added. Just smiled through her tears. Na stood from her chair. She walked too slowly. She looked different now. Older, more tired. She placed her hand on his shoulder. "You are a fool, human," she said, but her voice was not cold anymore. It was warm. "A beautiful, stubborn, impossible fool. You have done something I thought impossible. You made my daughters fall in love with you by refusing to trap them. By giving them freedom, you made them want to give up their freedom." "I still do not understand your culture," admitted. "No," Na said, "but maybe that is good. Maybe we need someone who does not understand, someone who questions everything, someone who forces us to see things differently." She sighed deeply. "There is something I must tell you, all of you, the truth I have been hiding." The room went silent. The daughters looked at their mother with concern. Na walked to the window and looked out at the stars. "I am dying," she said quietly. "What?" His voice cracked. "But the poison is gone, cured you." "He saved my life, yes," Na said. "But the poison did permanent damage to my organs. I have perhaps 1 year left, maybe less." She turned to face them. "This is why the life debt was so important. This is why I needed to bind to our clan. When I die, my enemies will attack. They will try to take everything. My daughters will be alone, without protection, without a strong alliance." "Why did you not tell us?" asked. Her voice shook. "Because you would have tried to fix it," Na said gently. "And it cannot be fixed. This is simply how things are." She looked at. "But now things are different. If you marry my daughters, you become part of the clan. Human governments are unpredictable and aggressive. Other clans know this. They fear human military tactics. If my daughters have a human husband, other clans will think twice before attacking. You become protection even without meaning to." "So this was all political," said. He felt something cold in his chest. At first, yes, Nuh admitted. I needed you for the alliance. I used the life debt as an excuse. She smiled sadly. But I see now that I was wrong about many things. I thought I could trade my daughters like assets. I thought their feelings did not matter. I thought duty was everything. She looked at her daughters with love in her eyes. But watching them with you these past 3 months, I learned something. Happiness matters, choice matters, love matters, even if our culture says otherwise. She walked to and took his hand. Her skin was cool and smooth. I ask you now, not as a matriarch collecting a debt, but as a mother who wants her daughters to be happy. Will you marry them? Will you stay with them after I am gone? Will you help them build something new, something that combines the best of both our peoples? Looked at the 4 daughters. They watched him with hope and fear mixed together on their faces. He thought about his old life, flying alone through space, running from ghosts and memories. He thought about these 3 months, learning to laugh again, learning to care again, learning to be part of something bigger than himself. I have one condition, he said. Name it, Nuh said. This cannot be a traditional bonding, said. It must be something new, a ceremony that honors both our cultures, your traditions and human traditions, old ways and new ways mixed together. If we are going to do this, we do it right. Nuh smiled. It was the first real smile he had seen from her. Agreed, she said. Stepped forward. She removed the blade from her belt and held it out to him. In tradition, a warrior gives her weapon to her chosen partner. I give you my blade. Use it to protect what matters. Handed him a small data chip. This contains my entire library, all my knowledge. I give it to you. Use it to make wise decisions when I cannot. Gave him the strange device she had built. This is for you. It does not do much, just translates things backwards. But I made it for you, which means it is important. It reminds us that humans are wonderfully weird. Came last. She held a small vial with silver liquid inside. This is part of my genetic code, she said softly. In our culture, it symbolizes the future, the children we will have together. I give it to you freely. Our future is yours to protect. Held all these gifts. They felt heavy in his hands, but in a good way. They felt like responsibility and trust and love all mixed together. Then I accept, he said. I will marry you, all of you. I will stay with you. I will protect you. Not because of debt or duty or politics, but because in these 3 months you became my family, and I do not abandon family. The daughters surrounded him. Even Nuh smiled with tears in her eyes. Outside the window, the stars seemed brighter somehow. A new future was beginning, one that nobody expected, one that would change everything. The wedding took 6 weeks to prepare. Word spread across the galaxy quickly. The first true human union. Many species sent representatives to watch. Some came out of curiosity, others came to judge. A few came hoping it would fail. Insisted on having the ceremony on neutral ground, a space station called Haven that served as a diplomatic hub. Nuh agreed, though many of her clan protested. They said the wedding should happen on the following all proper traditions, but Nuh supported its decision. This wedding would be different. It had to be. The night before the ceremony could not sleep. He stood in his quarters, looking at the formal clothes that had been prepared for him. Half was human style, half. The mixture looked strange but somehow right. There was a knock on his door. When he opened it, all 4 daughters stood there. They wore simple robes instead of their usual formal clothing. We thought you might want company, said. Before tomorrow changes everything. They came inside and sat with him. For a while, nobody spoke. They just sat together in comfortable silence. Are you scared? Finally asked. Terrified, admitted. I keep thinking I will mess this up somehow, that I will fail you. You cannot fail us, said gently. Because we are not expecting perfection. We are expecting you, just you. That is all we need. What if other humans judge me? Asked. What if they say I betrayed humanity by marrying aliens? Let them judge, said firmly. You saved a life. You built bridges between species. You chose love over fear. If they cannot see the value in that, they are fools. Some will judge us too, added. They will say we dishonored ourselves by choosing a human, by choosing anyone at all instead of accepting who our mother chose for us. She smiled. But I do not care what they think. I know what is true. What is true? Asked. That you are brave, said. Braver than any warrior I have met. That you are wise, said, even when you think you are not. That you are creative, said, and you make the universe more interesting. That you are kind, finished, and kindness is the rarest treasure in the galaxy. Felt tears in his eyes. He wiped them away quickly but saw. Humans cry so easily, she said softly. I used to think it was weakness. Now I know it is strength. It takes courage to feel so much. They stayed with him until morning. When the sun rose on the station's observation deck, they all watched it together. The ceremony began at noon. The hall was filled with beings from dozens of species. Humans sat on one side, on the other. In the middle were representatives from the Galactic Council, there to witness and record this historic event. Na entered first. She looked regal and strong, though knew she was in pain. She wore robes of silver and blue, colors of the matriarch. She walked to the center of the hall and stood before everyone. I am Na, matriarch of the clan of stars, she said. Her voice carried through the hall. I stand here today to give my daughters in wedlock to of Earth. This is unprecedented in our history, but all great changes begin with something unprecedented. The human ambassador stood next. He was an old man with gray hair and kind eyes. I am ambassador, representative of Earth's united government. I stand here to witness the joining of our peoples through love and choice. This marriage represents hope for peace between species who have known only suspicion and distance. Then the daughters entered. They wore dresses that combined human and styles, white fabric mixed with shimmering blue. They walked together, not separately, because they wanted to show they were united in this choice. Entered last. His heart pounded so hard he thought everyone could hear it. He walked to the center and stood facing the daughters. Behind them stood hundreds of witnesses, but he only saw the 4 women before him. The ceremony itself was a mixture of both cultures. First came the part. Each daughter spoke an oath in their ancient language, promising to bring honor to their bond and wisdom to their children. They each placed a hand on his chest, over his heart, symbolizing trust. Then came the human part. Had written his own vows, not traditional ones, because nothing about this was traditional. He said, looking at the eldest daughter, "You taught me that strength comes from standing up for what is right, not from never being afraid. I promise to stand beside you in every battle, whether it is with weapons or with words." He said to the second daughter, "You taught me that the best questions have no easy answers. I promise to keep asking questions with you, to keep learning, to never stop growing." He said to the third daughter, "You taught me that the universe is more amazing when you dare to break the rules. I promise to help you build impossible things and laugh when they work." He said to the youngest, "You taught me that feeling everything is not weakness, it is the truest form of courage. I promise to protect your gentle heart while you protect mine." He paused and looked at all of them together. "I promise to honor both our cultures, to teach our children about Earth and to build bridges instead of walls, to choose love over fear, hope over despair, and kindness over cruelty. I may be just one human, but I will spend my life proving that humans can build something beautiful together." There was not a dry eye in the hall. Even some of the stern elders wiped their faces. Na stepped forward. She held a silver cord in her hands, an ancient symbol of binding. But instead of tying her daughters together, she did something unexpected. She gave the cord to. "You tie it," she said, "because this bond is yours to make, not mine to enforce." Took the cord. Carefully, gently, he wrapped it around his wrist and then around each daughter's wrist, connecting all 5 of them in a circle. The silver cord glowed softly. By the authority of both our peoples, Ambassador said, I declare this bond complete. May it bring peace to the galaxy and joy to your lives. The hall erupted in applause. Some cheered, some cried, some just sat in stunned silence witnessing history. The celebration that followed lasted for hours. Food from dozens of worlds was served. Music from Earth mixed with harmonies. Humans danced with. Old enemies shared drinks and stories. Late in the evening stood on a balcony overlooking space. Na joined him there. She looked more tired than before, but also peaceful. Thank you, she said quietly, for giving my daughters what I never could, choice, freedom, love. They deserved it, said. Yes, Na agreed. All beings deserve it, but not all beings get it. She looked at him seriously. I do not have much time left, perhaps months. When I am gone, my enemies will test you. They will try to break what you have built. Then we will fight them, said. I know you will, Na said. She smiled. And that is why I believe you will win, because humans do not fight with just weapons. You fight with hope, and hope is the most powerful weapon in the universe. A year later, Na died peacefully in her sleep. Her daughters mourned, but they also celebrated her life. She had been a great matriarch. She had made hard choices, and in the end, she had learned that love mattered more than tradition. And his wives faced many challenges after that. Some clans tried to attack them, to test the humans' resolve. They learned quickly that military training was not just for show. More importantly, they learned that he had something they did not expect: the support of other humans who came to defend their kinsman and his alien family. Other species watched this carefully. They saw humans and working together, building together, living together. They saw children born from both bloodlines, beautiful and strange and perfect. They saw bridges being built across the galaxy. 10 years later, and his wives stood on the deck of their own ship, watching their children play. 3 daughters and 2 sons, all of them carrying both human and traits. They laughed too much like their human father. They thought too deeply like their mothers. They were the future. Do you ever regret it? Asked him one evening. Giving up your old life for this? Thought about it. He thought about flying alone through space, running from memories. He thought about being lonely and lost. No, he said. I was not living before, I was just surviving. You gave me a reason to live. Put her arm around him. You gave us a reason to choose. That is a greater gift. Laughed, plus you let me build crazy things. That alone is worth it. Leaned against him, feeling his emotions through her empathic sense. You are happy, she said softly. Truly happy. I can feel it. Yes, said. He looked at his children, his wives, his life. I am. And in the distance, Earth and the moved closer together, connected now by more than treaties or trade. Connected by family, by love, by the simple act of one human who saved a life and changed the galaxy. Because that is what humans do. They see the impossible and make it possible. They see walls and build bridges. They see differences and create unity. They are stubborn and emotional and chaotic and kind. And maybe, just maybe, that is exactly what the galaxy needed all along.